Yo, what's good, everybody? Keep almost in full color, and today is the day I get on my soapbox. Today is the day I talk about Assassin's Creed, the franchise as a whole. Now, if you watched my Assassin's Creed Mirage video, you knew this was coming. I'm kind of going to incorporate that into this, but ultimately, I do want to start off with talking about the first three Assassin's Creed games and why I feel like that is the best this has got and the best it will ever be. In the first three Assassin's Creed games, we have a present day issue. And we need to use technology to go in our ancestry to figure out which one of our ancestors came into contact with a powerful artifact that was biblical in nature. Now, if you want to assign another term to it, that came from a long time ago, that came from, the first people, whatever you want to assign to it, cool. We need to go back in our ancestry and see which one of us dealt with an artifact that came from that time that might be able to help us out today and how to get to it, how to harness its power. From Assassin's Creed 1, we just want that because we're dying out here. That is, the middle class, the poor people, we're just dying out here. The rich are just choking us out. We need help. We then begin to understand that there is way more at play here than just that. Now, quick spoiler alert as we go from 2 to 3. If you need to hear spoiler alert, you probably should click off this video. But ultimately, what ends up occurring is the apocalypse. We understand that the apocalypse is coming in Assassin's Creed 3, and we do our best to stave it off so that humanity can't survive on. Now, after this point, it's hard to rebound from that. But we know that Assassin's Creed 3 was so popular at that time, I guess they were like, hey, you need to pump out some more. Enter Black Flag. People love the boats, right? People love the boats from Assassin's Creed 3. Just give them a boat game where they're a pirate. It was not an Assassin's game. And you could tell that they just did not know what to do because they're like, oh, well, we're going to introduce a character called the Sage, and the Sage really didn't have shit to do with shit, and he still does not have anything to do with anything. He just was put in there for whatever reason. Going from that point, we had not seen any real progress present day. Get to Origins, we finally start to get back on this train of present day, and things starting to make good progress. And now I'm like, okay, cool. Origins were making some seeming progress with what happened after the apocalypse. Odyssey, not really much, but it's something, a little something's there. Valhalla, okay, now we're getting into Norse mythology, and we talked about the first people, and now we're bringing in Norse mythology into this, and the Norse were the Odins and your Lokis and your all those individuals were part of the first people as well. I believe is what they're trying to insinuate, imply is going on, that they are Isu as well, and which leads us to Mirage, to where, okay, cool, the Isu essentially could take someone's consciousness, lock it away, and that was kind of like the way that they punished one another, was actually they took their consciousness and locked it away. This all comes to a point to where, like, it sounds like when I'm trying to tell you, it's so jumbled and weird, and it's not making sense. And it seems like all for the sake of keeping this franchise going, and that's what this is all about. We want to keep this franchise going, so let's try to just get crazy. We went from like religious text to now like kind of folklore text with the Norse, which is where we're at now, which I feel like is one of those things, oh, it's popular, with God of War Ragnarok, with the show Vikings, and there's this whole Viking kick going on now, and I feel like, oh, let's just tap into that market. Okay, cool, we're going to make the Norse a part of the Isu. Oh, okay, we're going to make the story about Loki versus Odin. I'm okay with using Norse mythology, but at the same time, present day needs something, because present day is just left hanging. Did Desmond survive it, or didn't he survive it? It seems like he didn't survive it. And that, if you ask me, is what made the first three Assassin's Creed games so damn good. Because you had an issue in 1. In 2, you realize that issue is actually way bigger than you thought. And then in 3, it's like, okay, cool. What do we do to circumvent the next apocalypse? Because it's coming. We need to figure something out. And from that point, I mean, how do you surpass the apocalypse, really? You can't. There's nothing you can do. Ultimately, this franchise to me is just getting tired. They don't know what to do. There's no clear cut, here's the way forward. And if there is a clear cut way forward, the execution of it is very, very poor by way of present day. It's awesome that we're getting these historically accurate cities. We're getting stories that could very well be like historically accurate in a way, like by conspiracy theorist standpoints, like all the assassins helped out, such and such at this point, and we see like really weird things happen within history. So to say that's the Knights Templar or the Order as they're known in like way back when versus the Assassins or the Brotherhood or the Hidden Ones as they're called way back then. It's really cool to do that, but at the same time, I do feel like that element of the present day, how that affects today, is really necessary because I believe a lot of us were hoping to get a present day assassin game. Everyone thought that's what we were gearing up for. And I feel like the fact that we have not gotten a present day assassins game is just absolutely insane. I really hope they don't do a Japan assassin game, which I don't think they're doing since they're going like really all weirdly in on this whole Norse thing with Loki versus Odin. And I don't think that we ever will get a present day Assassin's Creed game. And even still, like, what would it be? The apocalypse happened. And since the apocalypse happened, nothing's really been said about who took control of the world or whatnot, and what technology was lost, what was kept. So much info, like they could have done so much by way of present day, but just have not done it. And it's absolutely just saddening to me. And that's the reason why I just feel like maybe one more game, just have a grand send-off for it and just be done for it. They've been all over the place, whether they wanted to go combat based and be high action or be high stealth. And it's just one of those things where you could tell like, yo, you guys are trying to recapture that lightning in the bottle, and yet you're ignoring some of the greatest things that just made those first three as popular as it ever was. And that is the present day. That is the ties to religious texts, because it wasn't just the Bible. They also used the Quran and the Torah. So there were other religious texts that were used within those first three games. And I just don't really know where to go. I'm just tired of checking into this game and just being let down. So I love this franchise. I truly do. I love how they utilize the Bible, and maybe they need to go back and remake one, and maybe that will help, them capture things. I do feel like with Mirage, instead of Mirage, I do feel like a one remake, that would have been a great time to do a one remake. I really think that would have been dope to see. I don't think they could do a one remake now because Mirage basically was set in like the same kind of geography, if you will. That's probably not a word, but the same type of geography, the same type of, assets will probably be used in that. So I think it would feel way too familiar. So I do think you would need to go out and do something else. If you go back and remake 2 at this point, I mean, it just seems like a money grab. But also, if you go back and remake 2, I do feel like that enhancement needs to be done. You need to leave behind the PS4 and the Xbox One. You need to make it just next gen and just go full tilt. So I do hope that they go back and remake 1 first and then go to 2. And then I'm hoping that would just, maybe get some gears going about how do we kind of revamp this, redo it. I don't know, y'all. I really don't. That's gonna do it for this one. It's just to say, I don't know what the people at Ubi are doing. I understand you working hard on this. I appreciate that. But go back to your roots. Just go back to your roots. That's all of us ever wanted. Or just say screw it and make that modern day Assassin's Creed game that I think a lot of us were wanting and hoping to see. But that's going to do it for this one, y'all. Keep it locked in. Spider-Man is on the way. Super Mario's Wonder with the boys on the way. Super Mario RPG on the way. Star Ocean on. Do you get it? A lot of games are dropping, you all. It's the most wonderful time of the year, all right? Q4, as usual. Peace, be easy, be blessed.